Straight, no chaser.
This time we're recording it. So, we're going to get into some things and do some things and talk about some things. And yeah.
We just talked about COVID-19. We talked about health. I mean, what else you want to do? You want to just talk about religion too? Man, goddamn.
Well, we're going to listen to it definitely. But right now,
Absolutely.
you out here with us. Thank you very much. This is yet another episode of Straight No Chaser, the podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe. We all over the place. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, iTunes, anything and everything. We out there. So again, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. And hopefully you will continue to come back. And let me introduce myself. My name is John. We're going to go around the horn. We're going to flip it up this time. Neil, go for it.
What's happening, Neil? Tide is all outdoors because today was the first day back of school. So, yeah, we're going to get it.
Cheers to the teachers out there.
Go ahead, Rob.
Salute to the teachers. What's going on, everybody? Rasheem, a.k.a. Ra. Throw it up to KG.
Let's get it in, man. KG, salute.
So
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. We need to definitely salute about that.
We didn't talk about this, but are y'all organizations kind of doing anything to kind of accentuate Black History Month or celebrate it in any way?
That's an excellent question.
There was an email that came out today. There's going to be some Black History Month something with my organization. I didn't read the email because I lightweight don't really celebrate Black History Month, but that's a different conversation.
I'm not asking about you.
Yeah, that's why I didn't pay attention to it, but they are doing something.
Okay. So at my company, they're absolutely celebrating Black History Month. It's almost uncomfortable, if I'm being honest, right? Because it's so different than how it ever was, right? I found that Juneteenth is now a holiday for us. Mm-hmm. They did a whole presentation about Carter G. Woodson. He was a person that created, Negro History Week.
Yeah.
That evolved. Actually, he's a member of Omega Psi Phi as well. Just want to put that out there. And also, it evolved into Black History Month. So to have that education, we got one of the people on our team sending Black History Month little known facts every day of the month. It's been very aggressive and assertive, intentional, I would say. So I'm like, man, corporate America saying, all right, we got to do some diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff, which I salute that.
Yeah, corporate America stepping in there. I know John ain't happy. I know he's not happy.
I mean, it's not that I'm not happy. I mean, I find it all very symbolic. I think that education of people is great. By all means, the company that I work for is doing zero for Black History Month. I don't even think that they know it's Black History Month. So, that is what it is. But I know it's Black History Month because every month is Black History Month.
Would you rather it be how I'm describing or in your experience? Like, would you rather people to continue to walk around oblivious, or would you rather people kind of walk in the light, so to speak?
I am totally cool. In fact, I prefer it exactly the way it is because to me, I think all of that stuff is very performative.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of like, okay, y'all, it's February 1st. So let's put some, red, black, and green flags up and let's, put Harriet Tubman up somewhere. And then February 28th, we're taking all that shit back down. No, miss me with that. So, I mean, that's just me. I'm totally cool with it. I, don't believe that if you want to do some Black history as far as my company, give me some Black history money. So if you want to celebrate it in that way, give me a raise. How about that? Let's make some Black history.
We actually got money today too. So
my organization,
that's my kind of history.
My organization actually, especially when everything was going on with George Floyd and all that, to make a commitment to breaking the cycle of poverty within Black communities, because really nothing but Black folk really work at my organization. What they did is they had deposited money into everyone's retirement.
I'm with that. That's what I mean. That's
they
great.
Put money, and I was like, good stuff. And even if you had not started retirement, they dropped the sum of bucks into your retirement and set it up. So you at the very least, when you do start it, you got the seed money up in there. And I was like, that was dope. I know Diageo was just announced they was doing something. I don't know if y'all know who Diageo is. It's a alcohol
liquor.
company. Yeah,
Yep.
liquor. They, I think Johnny Walker and a whole bunch of other brands that a
Some
lot of
good ones.
Negroes, a
Some
lot of
good
Negroes
ones.
be drinking. They just announced, I guess, maybe it was for Black History Month, but they just announced that $10 million they're giving to HBCUs. 10 million. And that's split like between like 15 different HBCUs. Of course, Howard is one of them.
Exactly, as it should be. Shout out to the former Mrs. Bezos, who has been giving out buku money this past couple year and a half, but not just to the Howards and the Spelmans of the world, but to the Alabama A&Ms and the Morris Browns and everything like that.
She put it down, but Diageo, I'm just like, wah, wah, wah. I'll take it.
Exactly.
If it folds and it jingles, let them do something with it.
There you go.
Listen, it's funny to hear you say that. I know I threw us completely off base with this.
You did, but we'll get back.
But this is
the warm up. We'll get back.
It's a good one. It's a good one though, right? Because I think it's a relevant conversation. I appreciate it in some respects, and the reason I appreciate it because I'm uncomfortable, and I don't, and I think that's good, right? I think if everybody's uncomfortable, that means that can be it can be symbolic of growth in some respects. Again, I think we are of the era of, for the most part, you kind of assimilate to some extent. I mean, you are who you are, but you code switch a little bit, and you assimilate to the culture, and then you kind of get as far ahead as you can, and kind of keep your roots if you choose to do so. So, I like the fact that it's overt. People are having their backdrops changed to the African kente colors. I think it's been dope, man. I was kind of like, okay, and everybody's like, Happy Black History Month. I mean, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, I'm with you on the uncomfortable piece because we do live in a racist society, and as a result, as Black people, we depending on the circumstance we in, it may be smart for us to walk on eggshells, and experience that uncomfortability. So if white folk are going to be uncomfortable because we got kente and mudcloth on the walls, then let them live in that uncomfortability as well.
Yeah, I even
or
recommend
better yet, forget the mudcloth and that, just having serious conversations about white supremacy, Black inferiority, whether you're going to be an ally or you're going to perpetuate the status quo. Like you have those conversations with white people, they get antsy.
Dude, our whole organization did a call yesterday. So I've been on 2 calls. One was done by our we have different organizations within our company, and one of them is like a mosaic. So it's like essentially the Black folks. They have the LGBTQ organization, the Hispanic organization, and then like a different group, IRG group.
Yeah.
And then they had a separate presentation, right? That was headed by our diversity, equity, and inclusion person. And then we had a company-wide event yesterday, and they had an allyship portion of it, a Black history portion of it. And I was just like, man, they're really intentional. And they tried to really think this out around how to position this to lean in. And I appreciate it, man, because for years that just hasn't been the case. And so I said the note to the person who kind of put one of them together, like, man, listen, I wish this would have happened, 10, 15 years ago, but this is phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this, like, at least the young people that I'm aware of, the children that's in schools or whatever, these kids is hyper woke. My daughter is 13, almost 14, and she will regularly tell me, every year for Black History Month, they talk about Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, the same groups of people. So she has tried to, spice it up and look into other people. And like I said, at 13 or 14, to be even thinking in that fashion is just the culmination of many, many years of people talking about this kind of stuff. And it makes me kind of excited for the future. But as for me and my job, as far as I'm concerned, just do your little stupid ass TPS reports, stay out my face. I don't want to hear your blathering on about Black History Month, especially when I know you about to let a whole bunch of Black people go and get fired or whatever the case is later on in the year. If they don't perform, miss me with all that. But good. I'm glad that you like that, KG. So Bar Talk 2020, Neil, let's see. I kind of wanted to get your information. I mean, I'm sure that you don't even know nothing about this next topic, Neil. So I don't even know if we need to bring you into this one just yet. But there was a example of a lady, a black woman doctor. I don't know if y'all out there on the internet have actually seen this story, but it was fairly popular, making the rounds or whatever the case is last month. And I wanted to get last week. Wanted to get y'all's take on this. So, long story short, there was a doctor that was a lady, black woman, and she had engaged a moving company to move her from one place to the next. Moving company said it was going to take a certain amount of time, wound up taking 3 hours. 3 hours more than it was supposed to take.
No, it's supposed to be 3 hours.
Supposed to be 3 hours.
That's what they quoted her. They quoted her 3 hours.
It would take 3 hours.
All right.
Exactly. Didn't take 3 hours. It took 10 hours, and they charged her 3 times as much as they initially said they was going to charge her. She, of course, hits the roof. She refuses to pay it. The movers call the police. The police come and basically say, if you don't pay these movers, the amount of money that they said they were supposed to get, then we're going to arrest you for, stealing their labor or whatever. So my question, I guess, to you all is, first of all, if you have even heard of this scenario or whatever I'm talking about, because it just happened. It was just this past week.
Yeah, I heard about it through you.
Okay,
but I still got thoughts on it.
There you go. So my question, I guess, is we see this on a regular basis, and it's something that kind of bothers me a lot.
Regular basis.
Wait, what do we see on a regular basis?
I'm about to get into that.
Okay.
We see people who are, there's a video that goes along with this. So the woman is taping, or it might be the police badge camera or whatever, but we see the whole interaction.
I think it was his body camera. I got the impression it was his body camera.
So we see a lot of the interaction, and basically she is stressing her education. She's talking about, why is this happening to me? Because as time goes on, her and the police communication
it escalates.
It escalates. So it starts out real calm, and then as time goes on, the police start raising their voice and grabbing her and threatening her with arrest and blah, blah, blah. And so she is like, why are y'all doing this? Because I'm a doctor. I am educated. Look at my house. Look at my neighborhood. Why would I do this? Why would I got enough money to pay them. It's not about that. It's about the principle and blah, blah, blah. And
she didn't say that.
Is she trying to say like I'm a good little Negro? Like,
no, but she didn't say that part that John just said. She didn't
say that she was a doctor?
She did say that, but you said the last part that you stated, that wasn't she didn't say that part.
What did she say?
She stressed that she was a doctor. She stressed that what they're asking her to pay was not what they quoted. She wanted to be heard, is kind of what I got from my interpretation of her position. And she was just asking, why is this happening? Like, this is unfair. Like, it's not fair that they get to blow up the charges and I'm stuck on the other end, on the receiving end, to pay them this money.
Totally unfair. But my point was, why was her being a doctor? Why does that matter at all?
Is it really unfair? Really, it doesn't. I mean,
it doesn't.
Yeah, people put it on
there.
It
like, does?
I don't think so.
It doesn't.
No,
it doesn't. I agree.
But she thinks it does because there's some clout that comes along with saying I'm a doctor. She says she's a medical doctor or a PhD. Like that doesn't matter. But for her to be like, I'm a doctor. Listen, let me tell you something. Having worked in higher ed for as long as I had, I realized about these terminal degrees and advanced degrees. Man, they give them out at fire sales. Some of the dumbest people in the world got PhDs, MDs, Esquires, and they some of the dumbest folk I ever worked with or met in my life. So just because you're a doctor don't necessarily mean you smart. And I'm gonna give an example. I had a moving situation once, and the movers quoted me a price. And at the end, I ended up paying a lot more than they quoted. But because in the quote, typically it says, as we're doing the work, if we have to use bubble wrap for glass, supplies. If we have to, wrap the furniture because of this, if we have to use our own tape, if it goes longer than we had anticipated, then it will cost you extra, and that's it's in the quote oftentimes. So
she was the part of it too.
She probably didn't read that and didn't know that they could charge her, and they did.
Part of it too is she stated that I think she wanted 3 people to kind of come, but then there was a dispute in terms of one person showed up, a second person came late. So she was really frustrated with the moving company's ethics. Listen, my position here is she should have got arrested if she didn't pay those people the money.
I don't believe that.
No.
Let me finish. She absolutely should have got arrested if she didn't pay those people that money. What we didn't talk about is a couple of things here. One, I think she did not get arrested. One of the things that come into play here is she's a woman. Unfortunately, that's a reality where they was exploiting the fact that she was a woman. I think if there's a man involved in that situation, it would have went a little bit differently, in my opinion. The other piece of why I think she should have been arrested if she didn't pay is because it's a civil matter. She should have anteed up. One, she should have not let it get to 12 hours. If it should have been 3 hours at 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 hours, she should have been like, stop, cut this off. I'm not paying y'all no more money. Like, y'all not gonna milk me. She should have called game over at that point. Don't make them do the whole job and think you're gonna still get the price you were quoted. If 1, 2, or 3 people have been there for 10 hours, they should be paid. It's the equivalent of somebody dining and dashing, right? You get your food and you decide you ain't gonna pay because they took too long. No, you could get arrested for that. You should get arrested for that. So, I
mean, for this particular situation, I feel like my beef with her was that she was like, I'm a doctor. Why is this happening to me? It doesn't matter if you're a trash man or you work for Chick-fil-A. Your education and your profession is not going to save you from getting interacted with and talked to crazy by the police. So that irks me when we hear this, like, I went to Harvard, so why am I getting pulled over type logic from people sometimes. But okay, let's leave that alone. But
John, that happens. Like, I'm an NBA player. I'm this. That happens to everybody. So I'm not.
But it's wrong.
I'm not surprised you have to play that card, because in some situations it may work for her. It may work for other people. Like, you can say, you know what, I'm from Houston, and that could help you in some situation. I mean, I'm just saying, Rock could be like, I'm Rasheem, I'm a Mason. He could do. I'm a Q. Like, you could insert anything here. I am an insert anything and use that to get out of whatever situation you may or may not be in. I'm not surprised that she used that.
I mean, as far as like her getting arrested, no, I doubt that. I wouldn't have agreed with that either. I would have been like, they told me it was going to cost this much. If they want some extra money or whatever the case is, we got to go through the system. But no, you ain't going to arrest me over this. But I don't think she got arrested. And I think she wound up cutting the check.
She paid it.
She went ahead and paid the money.
No, they had that hand going behind for them Chanel bracelets. And she's like, no, I'll pay. And the dude's like, you going to pay right now? She was like, yes, I'll pay. Because the dude was like, listen, you said you're going to pay like 5 minutes ago. And then she was kind of like still asking questions, and that's when, at least from my perspective, the cop kind of escalated it a little bit because he wasn't feeling like she was moving fast enough. They was wasting time. Pay or not pay.
Let me jump in here real quick.
I think they just picked on her because she a woman. Like you said, if it was a dude, the shit wouldn't have popped off like that.
Or it might have been worse.
The moving company picked on her because she's a woman. I don't think they would have handled it. I think they would have handled it differently.
I think the cops too, because once they started going back and forth, and like you said, she threw out the "I'm a doctor" and woo. Cops don't care. They'd be like, "Oh, word, you throwing out the doctor? All right, I'm gonna throw out my cop and throw your ass in jail." That's all. It was like fair tactics. That's
basically
all it was. That's all it was. Just fair tactics.
I'm not a fan of none of that. I'm not. Word. Jerry says she watching this with a law school student in the room. You asked them, Jerry, and then let us know. So this she says she definitely has grounds to sue.
She does. I agree with that.
And that's what I would have done. I would have paid.
There you go.
And then I would have took them to court. Especially if I had the money to pay, I wouldn't have thrown my pedigree out there like that really matters.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Because people do that. They throw pedigree out there like because and that's good in DC. DC, they be quick to be like, oh, I'm a this, I'm a that.
But then on the flip side, I don't know how the contract go with the moving, but if you tell me it's going to take you X, Y, and Z, it's going to take you 3 hours. I'm not paying you for no 12 hours. Shit, you said 3.
But you will pay if it takes 12 hours.
No, I'm saying in the sense of
hold up. If it takes 12 hours and you don't cut them off at 3, then you're gonna pay for 12.
And y'all gotta read. It's like you don't get extravagant contracts with this. You typically get a quote, and a quote will have terms of service. And when you read that stuff, it'll say We got to charge. And sometimes it'll tell you down to the penny what they're going to charge for stuff like that. So if you don't read the terms of service and you agree to the service, I mean, if she took it to court, the court might very well say, you got to pay these people if it's in their terms of service. If it's in their
court fees.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but the whole pedigree thing is what's blowing me. But but in terms of the cops, I'd be like, no, you will not arrest me because laws are broken here. What's
basically
you're not going to arrest me because if they do arrest, then I got a civil case against the movers. The movers.
Yes.
I'm going to try the movers. I'll probably lose.
You can win there. I think she has a case there.
If there's terms of service that says she's got to pay X, Y, and Z extra if it takes them longer, she may not be able to get out of that if it's written.
I mean, they told her it was going to cost a certain amount of money and it was going to take a certain amount of hours. When they went over them hours, I agree it should have been on her to step in and say, okay, yo, what's the deal? What's going to happen here? However, the fact that they did not do that does not necessarily put her on the hook for paying that extra money.
The only thing I can see working in her favor is that they didn't start on time or they didn't start with the number of people that they quoted they was going to have.
There you go.
That's the only thing that I see that works in her favor.
But I think we're misinterpreting potentially. It's a quote. It's not a price. It's a quote, and the quote can go up and it can go down.
I mean, I don't know anything about the moving industry.
That's a fact.
It's a fact, but it's also something like if they come in there and they say, at first, we're going to quote you this, but then they see, oh, wow, we said our quote is way low. They got to get that straight from the gate. They can't be like, they can't say in their mind, this is 10 hours worth of work.
You may want to get it straight.
Have you ever helped someone move? Ever?
Yes, he has.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he
Have you ever helped? I don't know if this has been your experience or anyone else's experience. Have you ever helped someone move who said they was going to be packed, and then you get to the house and they still got 4 hours packing left to go?
Correct. And then I come back in 4 hours once they're done.
But a company can't do that. If they're supposed to be there at 2, they show up at 2. I'm not saying this is her situation, but companies got to build in that extra time that if they show up, the customer's not ready. So how they build that in, they say if it takes extra time, we got to charge you extra.
But then they should have been very clear about that when they walked in and they said, okay, you're not even close to what you're supposed to be doing. This is going to put another 4 or 5 hours on it. They should have got that straight from the gate, but nonetheless, they did not. And here we are.
Samantha, try to get over them.
Samantha, I'm trying to tell them
that's what I've been saying this the whole time.
They always have those exceptions so that I don't have to tell you. It's your responsibility as the customer to read the document. And if you don't read it and you sign it, that's on you. That's a lesson for all y'all listening.
If y'all also
you ain't read, y'all stupid.
It's on the customer to cut it off. She could have been like, dude, it's 5 o'clock. I'm not paying no more money.
But now half her house is on the moving truck. So what's she supposed to do?
Make the phone call to the manager. Hey man, let's get this settled. Like, I don't what's going on? Y'all taking X, Y, and Z. She should have, her grievance should have been at the end. It should have been early on, figured out what the solution may not be, and be like, listen, I'm going to serve it where we are. I'm going to pay you what we said we were going to agree to pay, and then put my stuff back. I'm going to hire somebody else to do it, if that's what she chose to do. But if they did the job, pay the people their money, or you're going to go to jail.
I would have went to jail that night because I wouldn't have paid them a damn thing.
I don't think that she should have went to jail.
I'm suing everybody.
Listen, Rod, if you did a job for somebody, late or otherwise, let's say you do a photography project for somebody.
Yeah.
You show up late, your equipment's malfunctioning, but you bill by the hour. When the time is done, they don't want to pay you nothing.
Hell,
look, I'm respectable. So if I show up late,
no. Let me finish.
Okay.
They'll want to pay you nothing. What you gonna do? You gonna walk away?
Look, they would have already paid me.
I'm asking them more of a rhetorical question because I know you're a different business person, but in the eyes of the moving company, right? You would be like, you need to pay me my money if you was cutthroat.
Yeah, you got to pay. But here's the thing that if I show up and she shows up late, and now we're starting late,
that's different.
or we got to move it completely. My contract stipulates the extra she will be charged. If she doesn't read the contract, she can't tell me, y'all. She can't tell me I'm not going to pay that extra.
Let's say she tells you I'm not paying that.
Small claims.
That ain't going to happen.
No. Let's say you can't make her pay you. Like you get a deposit, but your balance. Let's say I'm not paying you. I'm not.
Well,
No.
Typically the balance is paid before the event.
Okay, but let's say you do that, but she's late. They're late for the final event.
They're late, and I got to push it back, and it's going into time that could have went to someone else's contract.
Yes,
and I will charge them extra, and
they're not going to pay.
They're not going to get their photos until they do. See, and that's the same thing with the moving company. If she didn't pay, they could have locked the doors of the truck, and she just wouldn't get her stuff until she paid. That's a possibility.
Listen, I don't listen. I think the mechanics of it. I think people are sensitive about it. But I think everything played out the way that it should. What she messed up, in my opinion, was really it's a civil suit. She needs to file a civil claim against the company and see what that can get her, as opposed to trying to fight it in the moment.
Right.
Because she let it get too far.
But that's what we do. We try to fight stuff in the moment. We don't think the long game.
Speaking of the long game, we're gonna pivot real quick. So this is kind of a topic that's near and dear to my heart because we all live our lives online a lot and we talk to each other a lot on the internet and social media and whatever. And I'm curious, I'm in a lot of different Facebook groups, even though I'm in Facebook jail right now. And there's currently a 800 reply post about a man who is going into different women's DMs and inboxing them and sometimes responding a little negatively when they are rejecting his advances and everything. So I kind of wanted to ask you all, how do you feel is the correct way in 2021 to approach a person that you are interested in getting to know romantically? I mean, is there any, universally acceptable way to do it? Because if you go into somebody's DM slide and they weren't they don't know you kind of a stranger. A lot of women is just going to flat out ignore a strange man in their inbox, as they should. I get that. You can't really walk up on somebody on the streets no more because, it's just iffy sometimes. So, I mean, how do you get to know people in y'all's opinion?
Yeah, but you gotta flesh that out a little bit more. It wasn't as simple as he was hitting these women up. Yeah, all right. Granted, he was in multiple women's inboxes, but when you single, it's a numbers game. You gotta cast a whole bunch of hooks in the pond to see if you can hook any fish. So I get that, I understand that, but the way he was doing it, he was real aggressive. If they was like not responding, what, you can't respond to me, what, you're busy, like questioning them, just based off of me trying to reach out to you in the DMs. It pay off her student loans. Nicole Merritt. Yeah, that might work.
That's how you do it. That might work.
That might work. But yeah, so this particular brother they was reporting was particularly hostile. And they put some screenshots out there, and some of them a few seemed a little hostile, but a few of them weren't that hostile. I think they was being a little extra
to you.
I mean,
yeah, to me, I guess it's it's all subjective.
Hundreds of hooks from what it looked like. So let me flesh it out.
That's what I heard VB doing. VB just hooking them, throwing out hundreds of hooks.
It's a very, very small world after a while in certain areas. So if you are a person in Washington, D.C., for example, or I'm sure in various different cities across the country, after a while, you kind of know a lot of different people, but it's a real small group of folks. So if you're trying to talk to one person, pretty soon, and it don't work out with that one person and you move on to somebody else, that word is going to travel. And this individual has been active, let's say, for a good long while, let's say years and years and years, and he's not getting any play, none. So yes, to my knowledge, somebody is working for somebody. It's working for somebody, I'd imagine. But my point is, I guess,
one can only think.
A lot of the things, that's a good look at Rose. Rose says, what do he look like? Basically, he was coming into the DMs and he would be like, hi. and sometimes women will respond, sometimes they wouldn't. Then he would say, "You're beautiful," or some kind of physical compliment, whatever. And for some women, that was a little too much. You don't even know me, whatever. And other women kind of just
one was like, "Do you have a man?"
Right? Yeah. So it was just like if he would have just stayed in that lane, it would have been okay. But then he kind of went left when he was rejected and started being aggravating and whatnot like that, and it got ugly. So I guess bring it back to my original question, and I say this not because I want advice. I'm just asking, is it acceptable to just go into DMs, introduce yourself, you find somebody you like something that they talking about, and you just, pop up and be like, "Hey, I want to get to know you." I mean, that's it. It could be that simple, right?
No.
Damn.
No. And I'm gonna start by saying it depends on who you are, and to Rose's point, what you look like, because women will accept certain things, or people in general will accept certain things from folks that they deem attractive that they won't accept from folks that they don't deem attractive.
It's true.
Yeah, know thyself.
So the answer to your question is, it depends.
That looks jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is real, America.
In the Matrix, the Oracle said, "Know thyself." So if you don't know like what you look like in the reflection in the mirror, and you slide up in people's DMs, or even if your game is just whack, I assume that women are like, "Dude, relax, kick rocks." And part of it too, you said that his response, if he was rejected, was a little aggressive.
Yeah. So in other words, if women was like, "I got a man, I got a husband," or whatever, he would be like, and he don't let you have friends. You know what I'm saying? We can't still talk, that kind of type of thing. And I
think part of it is what is happening based on what you're sharing. Like they put him on blast. That should have happened sooner, right? I think when women get DMs from people who may be aggressive, disrespectful, harassing them, I think you need to put them folks on blast. That would be my recommendation, and be like, the answer is no, and everybody gets to see that. That's in your circle, and so it makes that person retreat and go someplace else and do whatever they're going to do. But if you just kind of respond in your own individual way, then you get creeped out. You're like, man, you block this person, but they may go to your friend next, or whatever. So it's funny because one of my friends from the crib, she told me, she was like, man, like my sister, player, good folk too. She was like, she told me some dude sent her a picture of him, like a video of him, like butt naked. And she's like, this is the kind of stuff I get in my DMs. And I was like, man, is this what y'all be dealing with? And she was like, man, you have no idea. I said, man, post that dude. Put that joint on your photo, like post his picture, his name, put him out there. Blast his ass. And she was like, nah, my mama follow me. I mean, so what?
She's seen that before.
Exactly. That's how you got here. You know what I'm saying? But I think in all seriousness, you should put them folks on blast. If you respectfully be like, I'm good, and they still, going at it, and blast them. For why not?
I mean, it's funny that somebody, Nicole Merritt, just mentioned Trey Songz, but we're gonna get into it. We'll touch on that later. I mean, clearly sending somebody a nude picture of yourself as a way of introduction.
Unsolicited.
Yes, that's a little much.
A way of introduction? Is that what you said?
I have definitely been told by many women that there's plenty of dudes that will kind of put themselves out there, maybe not like immediately, but like, hello, dick pic. You know what I'm saying? Like off the break, hey, and he says hello, she says hello. Dick's like, well, listen, man, you don't tell me what your horoscope is or nothing.
I told y'all this before, man. Having a daughter has changed my life. It opened me up to a whole different world of just curiosity in terms of like what a woman's experience will eventually be. And I got to tell you, man, it's scary as hell. Especially last year when everybody was kind of like at home and kind of sharing their experiences. I don't know, man. Like I'll put my hands up. I'm like, that's the experience that I hear that a lot of women that have is very troubling. It's very troubling.
Agreed.
But you got to think about it too, though. For every for every woman that says no, there's some women out there that say yes. You know what I'm saying? So these dudes is getting motivation from somewhere. Not saying this. Not saying this.
Don't give
No,
them
that's
that
what I'm
pass,
saying.
man.
No. Not let's. We keeping it 100. Not saying it's right. Not saying it's acceptable. But there are some people out there that like that shit. There are some people that respond to it. There's some people be like, "Oh, word, that's what you got. What else you got?"
So
We're not saying it's right.
is this
We're
your
not
energy
saying
thing
it's
too?
wrong.
To get the energy on that? Or
Say it again,
you said a couple shows ago that I'm using you as the example. You said you vibe off of energy. Or you got to get the energy. Are you saying these guys getting what are they getting the idea that after you say hello and I say hello that I want to see your cock? I'm gonna use the white term.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong, fam. I'm saying there's some people out there that will bite for that. Because if you talk about, like we talked about a couple of shows before, there are some women out there, and we spoke about it, where, well, I'm gonna say women, younger ladies, the younger generation, where if a dude comes to you appropriately and says, "Oh, excuse me, miss, can I talk to you for a second?" They be like, "Nigga, get out of here, you a cornball." But if he comes to her smoking a blunt, drinking some Hennessy, be like, "Bitch, come here for a second." She gonna be like, oh, he, and roll into that. It's unfortunate. I'm in the school system. I see that. So
And you talking about live interaction. This question is about DMs
or anything. So that's what I was trying to say. Like, it is very. I feel bad for a lot of dudes that's out here to a degree. I mean, because you never know what is the correct way to do stuff. It's a whole different generation now. So we know that the street holler is wrong. Okay, you can't just run up on a woman and start talking to her because she's at the bus stop and you are too, because she's minding her business. You need to leave her alone. We've established that. Running up into the DMs, you've got to be very cautious about how you do that, because you might accidentally be a little too aggressive. She's reading into your tone or whatever. So, you got to be careful with that. So it's like, where is the correct way? And of course, we don't have any women to kind of weigh in on this on the panel.
I need your internet to be aggressive right now.
No doubt. There is no correct way though, fam. I really think it's based on confidence. We've all been out before and we've seen dudes just roll up to a shorty, just buy him a drink, and all of a sudden conversation is popping. Just off somebody buying you a drink, conversation is popping. Next thing you know, they giggling. Next thing you know, they dancing all night. Next thing you know, they leaving the club together. We ain't going to assume what happened.
That's you.
So it sounds like you know that experience.
That sounds like you.
We've all been in situations. We've all been in situations.
I ain't a dancer, so
you know what I'm saying. But it's not for real. I really think it's based on your confidence, though. And then the age-old cliche, which I never really did understand until I came to Howard, where they say a woman knows within the first 5 minutes is she gonna holler at you or not. So that used to amaze me. Like, in 5 minutes, if you want to holler at somebody, have sex with them or whatever, they know based on how the conversation go, based on how you approach, based on that confidence. So, I mean, all the crazy stuff we hear about, man. There's a lot of people that bite to that get along with that.
Lee Mubai, look, there is.
I don't know who you talking about, brother.
Lee Mubai. There is a correlation between the aggressive dudes in the inbox and them same brothers who be standing White Plains Road outside the 2 train, 245th Street, 41st Street, and they are hollering at a shorty before she get in the dollar van. She don't respond, and then all of a sudden they want to throw, I don't know, they chicken patty at her and dump some sorrel on her or something. It's the same situation. So how, like that aggressive stuff, if she's not feeling you, you don't have to get aggressive. You just chalk it up as a loss and go find somebody else. It's the same thing.
I agree with you. So where would you? Okay, if
I don't think it's wrong that he was hollering.
Yeah, it's not wrong that he was hollering.
I think it's wrong that he got assertive.
Right.
Okay, the assertive part I totally agree with. But where would you draw the line between what's the word I'm looking for? Not persistent, perseverance. Like you see a shorty walking down the block.
You're not gonna change her mind.
Say it again, fam.
I think you're not gonna change her mind.
No. I'm not saying it's that. I'm giving you a situation where you might say, "Excuse me, miss," and they be like, "What's the time for?"
What did John say? What you say?
Sometimes you absolutely can change their mind.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I think there's been mind changed before,
Yeah,
but it
that's what I'm saying.
it wasn't aggression though that got them.
Right,
to
it
change
wasn't
their mind.
aggression. It was consistency. It was
Looks jurisdiction.
It might have been
Looks
more
jurisdiction.
You're saying an absolute no can turn into an absolute yes,
I am
or
100% sure.
or
Yes.
I'm not sure can turn into absolute yes.
Okay, let me give you the scenario.
Let me give you a little example real quick. So let's say that
Wait, let Neil give the scenario.
No, it's love. I mean, I've
Nah,
done
go
that
ahead.
before.
Okay,
I've been
okay.
guilty of that before.
What's the
His
scenario?
His
So the
internet is
scenario
like,
is-
you can start talking, John. We won't hear when till your internet catch up anyway. So go ahead, Neil.
So, like, if a young
I'm
lady
hearing
walking down the block, I've seen that many times in New York. A young lady walking down the block, her brother's like, "Oh, excuse me, miss. No, I can't stop right now. I'm on the way to work. All right, can I walk with you? No. It's okay. I'm really in a rush. But you're very beautiful. That consistency, that perseverance. Next thing you know, he walking her to the train station. They're exchanging numbers, and it's initially that's what I think in my situation. I don't know what John's was, where a no can turn into a yes. She said no because she was on her way to work. She didn't have the time. His perseverance, she probably gave him, you know how women do that whole top-down scan within 3 seconds. She still said no, but she smiled a little bit. Next thing you know, she exchanging numbers. Then they're like, all right, I'll call you later. That's
How you know she wasn't scared the whole time and just did that so she wouldn't get raped?
that's different. I'm not even going that route. Which is valid. Which is valid.
Or
No,
just
which is valid.
disrespected, or just disrespected,
Which is valid. But
or
I'm-
physically attacked.
I wasn't going to the dark side. I was just trying to be pleasant.
I
and
know,
be like,
but
sometimes a no. When John said sometimes a no can be a yes, because initially she's thinking I'm trying to go to work. I don't really have time to.
Again, I'll say this, John. You said you're deep into the internet. I'm
Thank
not
you,
deep
Alana.
into the
There you
internet.
go. Alana said it best.
I'm not Alana. I'm not in read what she said either. What I'm saying with John is,
I'm supporting you, Alana.
I
Go ahead.
understand. I will support Alana. Let me clap for you.
Thank you.
What I'm saying is, John is in the internet. I just talk to people, my friend, like my circle of people that I connect with. And when I talk to them, what women say that they do in situations like that is they will accommodate reluctantly a conversation. They may give a wrong number because you may see them giving a number and think that he changed their mind, but they could give a number they made up in their mind because they're physically.
You're welcome.
Unfortunately, I would say inferior to men. Like I don't mean like they're inferior people, but men naturally are stronger than women for the most part, right? And so if a man wants to get aggressive or assertive with most women, they can do whatever they want, right? Like you can whoop a woman's behind for the most part. Like she can defend herself, but I mean you can hurt a woman more easier than she can hurt you. So I would say a woman is more prone to act like things are cool when she's uncomfortable because it's safer for her to do so than to put up a level of resistance because she don't know what kind of dude she's dealing with. So that's why I think that's why I asked the question, can you turn an absolute no into absolute yes? I would say no. I think you can turn I'm not sure into a yes, but an absolute no with persistence is not going to get you to absolute yes.
Yeah, and the thing that would make it. Go ahead, John.
Well, no, I mean, I was just basically saying, I think that a lot of times I 100% agree that people need to be left alone on the street. But there has been plenty of occasions where I or somebody else might have started a conversation with some woman and she was not really even paying attention. She's in her phone. She's looking off into the distance. She ain't really, whatever. She ain't even paying no attention to you. And she ain't giving you no energy. But then you say something and she kind of does a double check and gets a chance to actually look at you. And then she says, oh, my bad. I wasn't actually interested, but then I actually looked at you. That looks jurisdiction is a motherfucker. That's all I'm saying. So if you are at
that's
least
not an absolute no.
It's not
okay.
an absolute no. Because then you also have situations where women are open to having male friends. And they may not fully understand that a male friend, for that particular male friend, he may just be looking for an opportunity to get in. So he's biding his time being your male friend So she let him in. He might have stepped to her just on some more regular conversation. She let him in. They had conversation. They start this friendship, and then the persistence start. And then over time, he wins her over. That's different than the absolute no that KG is talking about, which is also
bugging. I must be bugging out. John, did you say meeting somebody on the street is an absolute no to you?
At this point, I think you really, really got to not do that. That's a no-go.
You can't meet no one on the street?
I mean, it is extremely, I mean, for me, I'm not even talking about right now because clearly I'm out the game, but I'm just saying back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, that was much more acceptable than it is now. However, you absolutely cannot just, see some random person and, interrupt their whole day. That's not looked at.
I've done that.
I think you can.
I'm not saying that you can't. I'm saying right now, today, that is a very dangerous thing to do. Women do not like that. Oh, it is. I mean, just like KG said, I talked to a whole bunch of women online and whatnot like that. And yes, if you talk to some random strange woman that's at the grocery store, she's going to be a little like, I'm here to grocery shop, not to meet nobody. So it's kind of,
if you pay for her groceries, she'll listen to you.
Now you ain't paying for nobody's groceries just for a conversation.
I'm not
think it's the other way around.
Let's not go to extremes.
No, some people will do that. Some people will do that.
Some people may do that, but I'm just saying that's still an extreme.
That's an extreme.
Just for a regular person not looking to pay for no one's groceries, to bump into someone at the supermarket, on the street corner, at the bus stop, on the train, or whatever, at the Costco, and spark up conversation that turns into something. You trying to say that can't happen? Like, this is a lot different than being in someone's inbox.
Word. I think that's the best way to do it.
I'm not saying
the best way to do it. Go ahead, John.
I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm saying what y'all just described as women feeling dangerous, in danger or threatened, that is where those types of situations occur the most because she's in public. She don't know you from nowhere. Blase Skippy, those are the type of situations that most women that I talk to are like, yo, avoid that. Like if I'm walking down the street and I'm trying to get to the post office, please don't interrupt my stroll because you want to talk to me. I got something to do.
Real quick.
I gotta understand.
Real quick.
What's the difference if you could buy a drink? Why can't you buy groceries?
What does that have to do with anything?
Neil, I don't know if you remember back in the day, Funk Flex had an edict in New York. Don't buy them any drinks. You remember that?
Yeah.
I'm not buying you no drink, so I'm not buying your suit. I'm not buying your suit.
Wow. Because
we just not purchased the drinks.
Do y'all remember when y'all first met me? I wouldn't even buy somebody McDonald's unless they was my old lady.
Yes, I do remember that.
I would not spend not a dime on somebody. I mean, that's just part of the game for me.
I think though it's not far fetched for people to bump into each other, talk to each other, holler at each other, and they be completely strangers at the moment.
Yeah.
In 2020, well, maybe not 2021 because you got so many people with COVID and we practice social distancing and all that good stuff. But pre-COVID, I don't think there was any issue with people doing that. I mean, the happy hour and day party scene was making mad money off of people doing that.
Yeah. But I mean, we've been out together, and it could be somebody that's talking to us like a group of people, and we'd be like, everybody just get around. Like everybody get a drink right now and just kind of enjoy the moment. And then they go their way, we go our way, and we keep it moving. Like it's not, I don't understand why.
If you choose to stay, you choose to stay.
Somebody would typically get a number, Lee Mubai. So it would be you go your separate ways to keep it.
There's a difference between the club environment.
I don't know who the Lee Mubai is. I don't know who that is, yo.
There's a difference. That's a different scene. That's literally why people are going out there. I'm talking about you at CVS. I'm talking about y'all at the parent-teacher conference. You just walking down the street, just randomly meet some random person, and you just strike up a conversation with them. That woman is going to grab her purse and be like, and turn this way, unless she really likes the way you look. I'm just saying.
You have no imagination.
But we know John cut from a different type of cloth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
this is also fair.
It's all love.
Speaking of different cloth, okay, so now we got to get down to this this whole thing with Trey Songz. We're not going to delve into it the way y'all might be thinking. Okay, so for those who have been under a rock the last couple of days, Trey Songz nudes have popped up. Women and I'm assuming gay men across the internet are losing their minds. It is what it is. But I just wanted to kind of ask, like, Chloe Bailey of the group Chloe and Holly. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Is it Bailey? What's her
I
last
think
name?
it's Chloe and Haley.
I don't know. Chloe and Haley, two sisters, and one of them got their own Instagram account. And these girls used to be on Disney Channel, so that's where I kind of know them from.
The
They used to be
Beyonce's
on like
artists, too.
Disney and Beyonce, and they're like little girls and teenagers, in my opinion. Not anymore; they're grown women. But all that to say, the one of them has her own little Instagram, and she did the Bust It Challenge. Everybody lost their damn minds to the point that a lot of people were very critical of her doing the things that she was doing, kind of showing her body. In her words, she said that she was accepting her sexuality, growing up, being a grown woman, blah, blah, blah. So it's interesting to me, like, we talk a lot about what men do and what women do and how people respond differently to the different sexes. You have women, a woman, Chloe, that's doing her little sexual thing on the internet, and there was a lot of criticism for her, and why did you do this and why did you do that? I believe the vast majority of it was applause, but there was a very loud minority that was like, you ain't got to do all that. But then you've got Trey Songz that pretty much everybody was like, good, you do that. And it's just interesting how that worked. You know what I'm saying? It's a pure example of the patriarchy coming through and how sometimes women can undergird that thing, the patriarchy.
Ooh, that's
and
a good
what do I
word.
mean? Do y'all see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you said, are
Is
you,
that
are
the
you,
word
are you,
lies?
are you asking or saying that?
Let me be clear. I'm
Specifically-
saying that.
Let me finish my goddamn question.
Is there a question?
Oh, I didn't get a chance to say it because you started talking again. Are you saying that women are hypocritical because mostly women came at Chloe, but then on the flip side, they kind of celebrated Trey Songz?
In a nutshell, yes. Now, let me be very clear. I don't know that it was mostly women that came for Chloe. Let's just say that it was a minority of criticism for Chloe, and
who's
of
on the
that
internet?
criticism, the most of it was women.
Anecdotally, from what I've heard, it was a bunch of
It
women.
was mostly women.
Ain't no dude look at her Bust It Challenge talking about, Chloe, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I would agree with that. Listen, I would say women.
And then the flip side.
Part of it, I think, is jealousy, right? Men, I might get in trouble for this, but oh well. We can hold on a little bit longer.
Straight no chaser.
Listen, Straight No Chaser, the podcast. Men can generally, we can age and still be, I'm going to use the word relevant, easier than a lot of women can age and be relevant. And I think that when you are young, all of us have kind of done this too. When we first figured out, like, to some extent, like what our tools were, what our assets were, we were like, man, I want to play with it. Like, it's like a new toy to some extent. Like, I got this new toy. I want to play with this toy. And I think to some extent, and I hear women, like my women friends, say that they feel like they've been hated on a lot. Because I saw a meme that's like, you've heard this phrase, well, I thought you were stuck up, but you kind of cool once I got to know you. And that's typically, to the cute girl, or what they perceive to be the cute girl. So there's a lot of assumptions that are going out there. And it does seem like it's hypocritical. I haven't seen anything about Trey Songz. I don't give a damn about that at all. But there's some insecurity, some self-projection, some own personal, interpersonal type things going on if people are hating on her for her expressing herself, but then they clapping and glorifying this dude who ironically has been around for some sexual assault stuff with some women. So I think it's very odd that people are now clapping when they see his pipe. So that's a little weird.
Yeah, I don't see it as I see it as par for the course, man. That's just how it happens. There were a lot of, I didn't see the Trey Songz video, but I saw a lot of celebration of the Trey Songz video. I saw a lot of women on social media, a lot of memes, a lot of Twitter posts, a lot of Facebook posts, a lot of Instagram posts. And then to the flip side, I did see the double standard of the response to the Chloe post. I wouldn't expect women to applaud that. Like, that's not my expectation that you're gonna be out there.
Just be quiet.
Exactly, but just be quiet, because there is, and the ones who did say, "Oh, that's horrible. How could she do that?" Da 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 da. Who's to say they're not the same ones talking about, "Ooh, Trigger can get it"? I mean, there is a double standard there.
It's always been a double standard, man. You let the young girl live and do her thing.
She's not a girl, man. She's a young woman.
She's 21.
No. She's a woman.
She's 20. What? How old is she?
I don't know. I'm not asking. I have
Tina Cole. I don't need the video.
No, but I'm just saying in the sense that if she's young and she's experienced, she wants to come into her sexuality and that's what she wants to do. You got the fucking option. Turn the video off. Don't look at the challenge. Everybody's always hating when a woman wants to do something to show her sexuality or feel like if I want to share it with the world, fuck it. She wants to share it with the world. That's her business. If your body ain't like that, get your fat ass to the gym. If you don't want to see the shit, turn the fucking video off.
Wow.
Like it's just
harsh.
Yeah, it's really that simple, dog. Like I don't like when we have all these issues about we bashing women.
Ass in the gym. That's funny.
And we bashing women because they want to do this and they do that. Same thing back in the days when the WAP came out and everybody was hating on Megan and Cardi and that song this and that song that. Turn it off. Let them live. When a man does it, ain't no issue with it. But when a woman does it, oh my God, how could you? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna tell your kids when they grow up? What's the man gonna tell his kids when they grow up? Trey Songz got a daughter or a son. All these other dudes got children. Ain't nobody tripping off that. But when a woman do it, oh my God, she's a horrible mother. Man, mind your damn business and get in shape.
Well, there you have it, internet.
Oh, okay. That was.
You okay, Neil?
That was rough.
You need a hug?
Yeah, it's just the truth. No,
it's real.
Because I hate the fact, like you said, I think Keltric said it before, men could get away with a lot of stuff and it's cool. But when a sister,
the dude literally held people hostage.
No. I'm not saying in that aspect. I'm not condoning this. I'm just saying men can walk around shirtless. They can have porno videos. They can do this, and it's cool. But if a woman wants to do it, what, Keltric?
It reminds me. We didn't talk about this, but the T.I. joint. We forgot about the T.I.
Ooh. Damn, we forgot all about that. We got to touch on that real quick.
We got to touch on
that real quick.
But when you said it, I was like, oh, the sexual assault, the T.I. joint, right?
And this plays in.
Fill everybody in. Fill everybody in with it, KG.
All right, so we did our show last week, and then next thing we know, all hell breaks loose with T.I. We find out that a woman who he has had relationships with or intercourse with, him and his wife have had relationships with, comes out and says that he drugs people, they drug people, they confiscate their phones, they assault people, he takes it up the butt, allegedly. All this stuff is allegedly. And that, there's about 30 women who all have similar stories in various places around the country around their sexual proclivities.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But the thing is that it was T.I. and Tiny, his wife. So allegedly, and this is again all alleged, T.I. and Tiny would basically, get with women and bring them back to their place, and everybody would do drugs and everybody would have sex, and that was kind of the way it went.
Or they would get drugged and wake up, and I think one girl was like,
drugged.
My anus was hurting, my vagina was hurting, and they was like, she found out that one of his friends was a person that kind of, took a couple of cracks at her orifices. So,
and this is all alleged because T.I. and Tiny deny all of this. They say that
no, they deny the rape. They say that everything that we do is consensual.
It's consensual. So, I mean, how do you divide that, or where's the line? Because you've got the man and wife, they're not cheating because they're doing this together, and they say that everything was consensual. They completely deny any assault or rape or anything along those lines. And how can anybody really know the truth about this?
All right, unless you're there
Right.
And the other weird thing is, like, the women who are there who are alleging that this has happened, they're also alleging that they were drugged. You got to look for commonalities in everybody's story. It almost looks like they got an MO. They have an MO. Like, if all of these women who was getting at this lady who was posting all this stuff on Instagram, if all of them are telling the truth, they hadn't spoken to each other and they got to her separately, then you could see the pattern. Like, they was all saying the same thing. Like, yo, when you get to the house, people are gonna take your phone. Before you sit down, they're gonna give you Molly. Are they gonna give you
or Coke?
Or Coke? Like, all of them had the same story. To the point where they said that he was giving them incurable STDs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they were all saying the same thing. So I figure if there is a pattern and there's commonality and all that stuff, you just got to go with what is more reasonable. Reasonably can be true versus, nah, you just sound like you wilding out making up stuff.
But there would be no criminal repercussions, in my opinion, based on anything that we heard. One, I think they could probably get something civilly, right? But criminally, we just learned some stuff. There's nothing that's gonna happen. I don't think there's anything that can happen because they were paid. Like, he gave them money. Many of them came back multiple times, and this was, I think, some of it was as recent as last year, 2019, and as early as in the 20-teens. So,
Man, that's fucked up.
we know about.
You said incurable STDs. God damn.
I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's
when you go meet the meat.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Better make sure you meet who you get meet the meat.
I don't know if it's Malika or Malika. But yeah, I did read that some of them were sending the fake stories. But I also read that old girl was trying to eliminate what she thought might be fake stories.
But even Tiny's homegirl, when she came out, and then in their own story, none of them denied the activities.
Right.
I mean, but I ain't mad at that. Like, if you in your marriage, then have fun.
That's the part that threw me off when Rob was saying that. Like, if you know T.I. and Tiny doing some stuff, and you come and you know the protocol, turn in your phone, you're gonna get some weed, ecstasy, or Molly. And, like, you know what the protocol is for this shit, and you still lined up for it.
I don't know if you know the protocol when you first go.
No, I'm saying, for motherfuckers say, take your phone, take this weed, ecstasy, or Molly, and it's some automatic, like, okay, some real serious shit going. If you say, take my phone,
you have a party. You have a party with anybody like that was famous and got something to lose?
Yes.
All right. When camera phones are out? No. All right. Imagine yourself as a famous person right now with something to lose, and you know you're gonna be, let's say, carnal in some way, right? You're gonna take the precautions that you think are necessary to prevent any video. I mean, that's what Kevin Hart got caught up with, right? Because the camera was going and it got recorded. So if you got any gumption about yourself whatsoever, you should take the necessary precautions, or what you believe to be necessary precautions, before you get into whatever you're gonna get into. So
no, but that's my whole point. I'm saying, and maybe it's just Neil thinking, if I'm going into a spot and they automatically telling me there's unlimited drugs and there's no phones in here, I know, like you used to say, there's going to be some rich, wild shit going on. Already something going on. I can't have no evidence. I can't recall this night. I can't do nothing. I know some crazy shit's going to go down.
I don't think they telling people some people know what's known to need to be said, right? For some people, other people just want to be in proximity of somebody that they idolize or they kind of have a little crush on. So I can understand why people would want to kind of like, pick me. I mean, it's no different than people that go to concerts and want to go to the backstage and hang out with the entourage and go to the truck and the trailer. And you know what's going to happen when you get there. Like, we didn't know what's going to happen when you get there. So when
not
people
necessarily, maybe they just want to play Nintendo.
And it doesn't mean that they got to give it up.
I agree with that.
But I ain't giving up my phone. I don't give a damn who it is.
What happened when they would get there, if they didn't want to play ball,
I agree, Shar.
Tiny would go kind of like, hey, this. They think they're too good. You want to mess with my husband, but you know, she would intimidate him a little bit, and then people would kind of use peer pressure. Next thing you know, and
Yeah.
you got your holes open.
To answer Cherie's question, they didn't sign an NDA because they are not Trump. They weren't on the same. They weren't smart as Trump to get them to sign NDAs. It's ridiculous. But here's the other thing that I think also complicates why a lot of women did not come out with this. A lot of them women were strippers. They were strippers
that transitioned into prostitutes when they got paid,
and they did extras. And there is a stain against strippers, sex work, and knowing that you would be demonized if you came out with that story. So I guess they figured, well, I'll just take the money and chalk it up as another night in the industry.
Sure.
That's crazy.
I mean, it happens. You know, it's unfortunate. I hope that sooner or later it all gets aired out.
I agree with that shit. She said once you see what's popping off, it's time to leave. You know, like Cat Williams said.
Listen,
you go into that extra room.
That sounds crazy.
No. From the point, I'm not predicting what she was saying, but I'm saying if I go to that party and my phone and I took the drugs, and like Cat Williams said in that joke, if I go into that back room and I see some shit that makes me not blink, Cat
Williams is a man.
No. I'm just saying in this.
No. Cat Williams is a man. You are talking about, again, we just had this conversation about women who will get involved in situations and will go along because it's safer than getting the ass beat or getting any, at the very worst, knowingly you got raped. Then you say, you know what, I'm gonna take the drugs and then we'll see what happens. It's safer than me to take that. That's the option that they feel like they have. Now, could they have gotten kicked out or sent and called an Uber? Maybe. I don't know. But I can't make it seem like it's that easy to say, you know what, you can leave.
Right.
Because sometimes it ain't that easy.
And it was one situation where a young lady explicitly said, I came with a friend of mine. I think she came with a friend of hers from Follies in Atlanta. I came with her.
Great strip club, by the way. I don't even like strip club, but that one was phenomenal.
Figuring I would dance and leave. And when I got there were all these other things. And they had taken my phone and wouldn't give it to me, so I couldn't call an Uber. So it could be that situation where I'm just going to go along to get along. And then when it's time to be out, then I'll be out.
Damn, you got to suck a dick to get your phone back. 2021, boy. Well, unfortunately, the moral of the story, don't give your phone up to strangers. Don't go to T.I. and Tiny's house.
No, the moral is don't go with celebrities because it may not be what you think. Know what you get yourself into before you get in that car or get in that SUV or you ride along, because you may be riding along at the end of the day.
You're going to be riding something. That's all we're going to say. We'll leave it there. So I do have one more little thing. I guess we got to. This is going to be kind of long.
Your internet blowing me, cuz.
Yeah, man.
Somebody else got to read this then.
All right, I'll read it. Hold on a second. All right. So just to put it out there, I got a friend of mine who does advice column, and she gives advice. It's There We See, There We See, WISY. Go on and check it out. It's dearwesee.com, and you can get her perspective. But she said it's okay for us to read this one piece and then give our perspective on this advice. So it's There We See, I Need Advice. This past June makes 6 years that I've been with my boyfriend. I'm in my early 30s, and I don't think my boyfriend is on the same page as I am because he seems to be dragging his feet when it comes to getting serious about our future. I think I know why he's doing this. Okay, this is a long story, but I'll try to make it as short as possible. A few years ago, I cheated on him with his cousin. I know this sounds cliche, but I don't know how it happened. It just did. One mistake turned into a full-on affair, and we eventually got caught. We both cut the cousin off completely and worked hard to get things back on track. I understand that he was hurt and wanted revenge on me, so I excused his cheating incidents. I guess he got over it because we were in a better than ever position, or we were better than we ever were. But I feel that he still holds on to the incident in the back of his mind. Like he's afraid to move forward with me. I know he loves me, but I think he's afraid to trust me as to be his wife. I'm tired of talking about it with him because he just tells me he doesn't want to talk about it and gets angry with me for a few days. Everything is perfect except for this, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't want to break up with him because I know he loves me as much as I love him. Signed, ready for the next step. Gentlemen.
This is real easy. Your cousin been up in your guts. The man's cousin is fuck. He's not going to marry you. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's not going to happen. So, I mean,
you must be out your rabbit ass mind to think he's ever gonna forget that it was fun because the homie had some too, and it was the cousin too. Oh hell no! I'm not, and that's just me speaking. I mean, if he could forgive you and it could be happily ever after, so be it. But men have that photographic memory. We picture shit. So the same freak, nasty Pornhub stuff that I do to you, my cousin did to you too? Oh no, I can't forget that. I can't forget that.
Well, this is interesting. There's a possibility. Remote, but it's possible. You got to go to counseling. Talk to a professional. He's not going to tell you the truth. He is doing the absolute most right now. If you step with his cousin and let him get in them guts, and the question really is, did you go meet to meet? That's my question.
Most definitely.
If you went meet to meet, that's an extreme violation. You went meet to meet.
It's over.
Hercules.
But those are the questions. Would you even ask that question?
But those are the questions.
Like,
those are the questions that go on in your mind. I would imagine if you've been on the other side of that, right? And I think based on the way you framed it up, Ryan, I assume she did go meet to meet with the cousin.
She said they had a full-on affair. Of course they did.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Yo, I mean, just imagine that you'd be like, "Do you fuck my cousin raw?" And she got to be like, "Yeah." And y'all stay together. He actually deserves a medal. She should be very happy with him, and just leave it where it is because that's as good as it's gonna get. And be happy with every. In fact, go back. Why'd you cut the cousin off? Go keep the cousin. Get the cousin, put him on the sidelines, and everybody be a happy family. Keep it in the family.
I think that the dude was wrong for cutting his cousin off. He should have cut her off. It ain't, listen, you should be around whoever you want to be around. And if you my lady or you with me and you decide to mess off with somebody else, that's on you. Like, you got to go.
I'm beating the cousin's ass.
Why?
The cousin violated absolutely completely.
He did too.
Period.
But who's the onus on more? Him or her, in your opinion? Well, your internet's jacked up, so you can't answer the question.
I mean, I cannot cut my cousin off this month. Well, I mean, I would just say I'm not gonna cut my cousin off, but me and him got to, come to terms with what happened. But the fact that my girlfriend slept with my cousin on other cases, that's gonna be real hard to get over. And it's a wrap, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Just is what it is.
Yeah, there's no way in the world I'm getting back with old lady. And if I do, it's because I feel like I have carte blanche, get out of jail free card to hold over her head and do whatever I want whenever I want. It's like, having your cake and eating it too. Like, I can have the comfortability and the security of being in a relationship, but then, like she said, he would dip out on her, and then she would be like, "Oh, well, I'll let it slide because I cheated on him with his cousin." Dude knew that. And you know what? I'll go even wider than that. Maybe he sent cousin in so that cousin can hit. Maybe you think he cut his cousin off, but maybe in Xboxing and PlayStation each other all the time. Maybe you got gamed, and now he gets to go do whatever he wants to do in them streets. That's that was all bad. That was all
That's-
bad. Since you are delusional if you're thinking you can have a relationship with that brother. You need to cut him off. Just keep moving.
That's mental abuse. But you know what it is too. She's holding out. You know what's funny? I was watching this series on Netflix last night about spies, like in espionage.
Oh, I want to watch that.
And one of the episodes, it talked about using sex as like the weapon for espionage activities.
That's what they did with Trump and Russia.
Facts. And so, well,
We don't know.
allegedly. And so, in she could have got played on that side. Where, to your point, Rob, where he was like, "Listen, cuz I see how she's looking at you. You."
Go
ahead, man.
Episodes
Go ahead, man.
in the man
Yo,
with
he
the cat.
knows his train of thought. He done right now, son.
Finish that thought.
Hey, internet, y'all need to let us know. I think there's something wrong with a man with a cat. A single man with a cat. There's something really wrong with him. So,
Come here.
John. I mean, but again, you were cut from a different cloth. You didn't. That's why your internet jacked up, man. Because you
And he
weird,
brought
man.
it back again. Oh my God. What's his name? Snuggles.
My cat's name is Cat.
Nah, you call it Snuggles.
No, that's not Shirley Rose. Shirley's outside.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, so
Uh-huh.
we got that all wrapped up.
Did we
Oh
wrap
my
it up?
She's dead
Cage,
wrong.
you finish your thought.
Yeah, he was done after that.
Man, we got the
Yeah.
cat, man. I'm good. Listen,
Yeah.
the dude is done. So whatever.
Yeah.
I think Shorty is
She got listen. She got me
stepped
to
out.
meet.
She stepped
got
out
me to
on
meet-
her relationship with her man's cousin. She should have left the relationship at that point.
No, but she.
Period.
You know what it is? This goes back to that Kevin Samuels thing. She might be a little older, and so her shelf life might be a little shorter.
What? Wait a minute. Are you really about to go there? We let's save that one for next week. with our guest.
Next week, we're gonna talk about that whole Kevin Samuels,
I'm just saying
high
her.
value man, all
No,
that
no,
BS.
I'm just
We
saying
gonna go
her shelf life might be short, which is why she's trying to hold on because it sounds like she's trying to get chose, and she ain't gonna get chose. Sis, you need to pack your bags and move the fuck on.
Well, on that note,
Thank you, Samantha.
we're going to have to talk about shelf life or what have you on another show. But that said, you have been listening to Great No Chaser, the podcast. We appreciate
Great.
you.
He said great.
Straight. Great and straight. Straight No
That's your-
Chaser, the podcast.
That's your internet and
We're
your
everywhere.
cat.
And we are on Instagram. We on Facebook,
Spotify, Apple
Spotify,
Podcasts.
iTunes,
Yes, Anchor,
everywhere.
Amazon Podcasts. And
Let's check our
subscribe.
website too.
Y'all gotta subscribe. Go hit the subscribe button.
Please.
Check us out at straightnochaserpodcast.com. We streaming there live right now. So if you don't catch us on Facebook, you can catch us there. But if you want to be in these funny chat comments, you got to catch us on my Facebook or the YouTube. You could get your chat comments in the YouTube as well.
I got to give a shout out to Tampa
Who got
Judo.
the merch?
Ain't no one wearing the merch tonight.
No one. I just want to give a shout out to Tampa
Damn.
Judo, man.
Dr. Roddy.
Big Ferg up there, big representing Chatterborough, doing this thing. Olympian, 2-time Olympian. So appreciate you joining in, Ferg.
Is that it, fam? We done?
There you go. So
are you done?
we got any final words? Final words for the people?
Man, get rid of that cat.
Nobody.
Peace.
Never.
Y'all have a good night.
There you go, people.
On that note, till next week, y'all, appreciate you for tuning in. Same bat chime, same bat channel. Next week, we're going to have some surprises, and we'll see you then.
And John's going to have
Peace.
better internet next week, too. Hopefully.
Alexi.
Oh, Alexis came in and kicked it with us. Good night, fam. Peace.
Don't put that out there no more, but I got you.
All right.
And on that note, we're going to say peace out, God bless, and good night.
Straight, no chaser.